Wonderful. So, welcome back once more to the Cold Mountain. Last week was, or last session was an eventful one, to be sure. It had begun quite well, to be honest. Grey acting as negotiator, taking a bold move to reveal himself, not in the ferreting way, in front of the three serpentine folk that seem to be watching over Turchak's Folly, watching the group from a distance. And through persuasion, some honesty, some clear negotiation, Grace seemed to be earning their respect and moving towards perhaps a monitored, a chaperoned meeting between these three people and Atala, who they seem to be very desperate to speak to. However, the the young Sandral Quinzel had moved into a hidden flanking position. She wasn't disrupting anything at all until a very unfortunate set of circumstances. She wanted to be prepared should things go bad with a little homemade avalanche starter, but managed to slip and let it go. Between that combined with the powerful sight of the silhouette of Blam Wolfhorn atop the ridge, bursting into existence using his cape of the Mount Bunk, triggered the more aggressive of the group of three to attack Grey, whereupon Grey was swiftly smacked down to the ground, decimated, and in fact killed. Very sadly, departing from this plane. Combat looked worse and worse from very unfortunate dice rolls. Seems like luck was against the group. Also, the difficult circumstances that their battle started in. Until eventually we had Sandral flee the scene, seeing two of her comrades seemingly killed and on the floor, Bungo, Goodbarrel, and Grey himself. Sandral fled the scene. Atala was torn between what to do and not to do, until the man of every hour, Mr. Blam Wolfhorn, decided to use his most precious gift from PJ, the Ring of Three Wishes, down to its very last wish. He held it out and wished for Bungo to be alive again. Bungo felt the presence of PJ, ushering him back to the material plane, and stood up once more, noting that the spellcaster of the three, Yuan T, seemingly had been trying to bargain with Bungo's life with Atala. Bungo took it upon himself to resolve the situation, banishing Atala from the plane to avoid any potential for temptation or misunderstanding or disagreement, and urged the three to take this mysterious cube that they were so desperate to get and leave. They did so. Bungo hurried over to Grey and resurrected him, and we find ourselves now really still in the dead of night. No sign of the sun breaking forth. Sandral nowhere to be seen, and the rest of you gathered around. Two of you, particularly Grey, I would say, now waking up and coming back to consciousness in a rather hefty amount of your own blood on the snow and rock around you. I'll move us over to the battle map just to refresh your memory, but I'll remove all the enemies and everything.
One thing to ask.
Of course, please.
Seeing as they get they've got resurrected, does that mean they get the -4 penalty to everything?
I believe that doesn't happen for Revivify.
Oh, it's just resurrection.
It's the ones where you've been dead longer.
Cool.
I will say that certainly it's, an incredibly powerful experience, and people are very welcome to roleplay it how they see fit. But no, there'll be no penalty to stats. Blam's Ring of Three Wishes there doesn't seem to have been any ill effect to you, Bungo, beyond just, again, the experience that you had. Get rid of Sandrell. Boop. But you find yourselves in the cold, blustering wind of the still clear nights, stars shining down upon you, in the aftermath of this traumatic battle. The rest of the minute plays out, and Atala, you reappear where you were banished from.
Are
If
we
there's
on
any...
Are we on the other map?
Oh, sorry, I haven't moved us over.
Okay.
Yep. I should be moving over now.
Mhm.
So, is there anything anyone would like to say or do?
Fucking hell, yeah. It's a good thing.
It is difficult, and I don't think anyone needs reminding, but I will just say that we're all good friends here, and whatever powerful RP might come to pass, that of course doesn't change. I don't think I need to say that, but I just feel as DM I should. But anyway, please go ahead.
Ethelbert wants to go and huddle in a corner and spend some time with his wife.
Completely fair. Feel free to move Ethelbert around wherever you think he would go.
Sorry, I think I missed something. Was Ethelbert's wife?
What Anya said?
Yep, Ethelbert's wife.
Okay. That makes sense.
That tracks.
Man, me knock dead, you forget these things. Yeah.
That's as much
Ray.
as I'm giving away without for free. You would earn the rest.
Right, if I just hear him making some weird noises on his own, I'll leave him to it.
Actually, that sounds quite right.
Gray awakes, staring up at Bungo, wipes some blood off of his mouth, staring up at the sky.
Yeah, it almost sounds like the sound you get when a text is coming through or something, and you get that weird interference with the speaker.
Oh, weird.
Are you right next to anything that would be shoving out Wi-Fi, or you're not? You haven't posted yourself up inside a microwave?
I haven't, not today, no. I
Okay.
can try moving my microphone, maybe over here.
Can't hear it now, I don't think.
Yeah, because it was right next to my speaker, so whether or not that might...
That was probably it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You're all good now?
So yeah.
No, fuck! What the hell?
Oh, hey.
Silly.
Did I get this at all last week?
No, nothing.
No. Okay, wait, let me...
No. I bought myself an actual microphone for the PC. So I do, but it's like quite far away from it. And if I didn't have this last week, then nothing's changed. So I'm just going to unplug it and plug it back in once it...
Stopped again then. Fuck. Being trolled! It's fucking Georgie, just sitting there with a little Wi-Fi generator.
That wouldn't surprise me. Okay. No, I'm on my own. In the
You
study.
sound clear again now, but we'll see.
Okay, see how long that lasts.
Yep.
La da 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 da. Okay. So he comes to and sees Bungo and immediately knows what's just happened then. So he just gives him a big smile. And oh. How much would I have had when I initially came back? Just one.
Just one, I put it on for you. So up to 16 now.
16. Lovely. Thank you very
That's right.
much. Oh god.
Yeah, so you feel multiple waves, the first gentle and the second quite a strong, almost electric sense of this golden energy flowing from Bungo as he
You
looks
s-
purposefully down at you.
Did you say 50? 50? Holy shit.
66 up to now.
He'll probably slowly get himself up onto his knees, at which point he's probably about the same height also, I imagine, as Bungo, and just kind of like go in for a hug, I think, arms outstretched. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. That really didn't go quite as how I thought it would. And then he turns and sees Blam as well. And his face would kind of drop. All I remember is everything seemed to go fine, and then suddenly all this snow came crashing down, and I could see you, Blam, up at the top. Was that you? He stands to his feet.
Oh, it wasn't me. I didn't hardly do anything really.
No, you weren't there a minute ago, and then you were, and you looked pretty imposing. Was that enough to cause an avalanche?
You know, I think it might have been actually.
You bring you back? What are you talking about? You slimy bastards. Is everyone else okay? What? Why? Why would you have run off like that?
She is just a girl.
That's true. Was no one there to, I don't know, advise her against it? That's true. None of you would be able to keep up with her, even if you tried. Ah, foolish girl. Well, we can't stay here tonight then. We have to find her, surely. Yeah, from what I remember, it sounds like you've got a few things to ask her. Before you do, he'll probably ask where Sandra was last seen, like where she was and where she went running off, if anyone knows.
Yeah. Yep.
Was Blam at the top still, or had he come down when Sandra ran off?
Blam, I think, would have seen Sandral disappearing.
Oh, I would have.
He would have seen her heading off, yeah, towards the monastery,
Would
northeast.
Blam tell that to Grey?
Of course he would.
Yeah. Then whilst you go do that, Grey would probably try and get through this now heavy snow that's up here with his fancy boots and try and basically just have a look, see if he can see any sign of her.
Do a perception check for me, please.
Well, I imagine at this point, how long would it have been since she ran off? With her speed, fucking hell. He would be using his spyglass. What if that does anything?
Advantage, yep.
Cool. And I don't even know how high up this point is.
28. With your spyglass, well, to be honest, before you even put your spyglass to your eye, you can see that there's no immediate sign of Sandra herself, but there is a clear sign of the direction she's headed in. The snow has been disrupted, and you think from seeing her move before that she was running at absolute full pelt away from the scene. It's not just footsteps in the snow, it's completely broken up and disturbed. There's almost like the signs of a bow wave, practically like a ship moving quickly through the water as she's just sped off in this direction. You place the spyglass to your eye to see further. The disruption continues, practically arrow straight in a northeasterly direction, and it crests a hill up ahead, disappearing past that. You think the land probably dips a little bit after that, and you lose sight of the tracks. No sign of Sandra herself.
Okay, but some signs of where she'd have gone. So
very clear direction, yeah.
But yeah, Gray's not foolish enough to run out on his own, so make his way back down to everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Bungo, you head to Atala?
Yeah. Yeah, you'd see it as you're walking up the stairs. She comes from this like little direction over here. You can see she's probably shaking. Her hands are shaking. She's shaking with probably a mixture of emotions: fear, anger, relief, all of that. And she just sort of slowly comes over to you, Bungo, and stands at the top of the stairs with a slightly defeated posture. I have no words for you. Yeah, I'm just so sorry.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I think you'd see a faint but certainly still there, a binding of gold energy that on your wedding night had wrapped beautifully across yours and Atala's arms as you held hands together and said your vows to each other, and now you see this faint echo of that clearly shown in the same place, the golden wrappings around your arm.
don't know if he would be. He's just in a corner somewhere. Oh wait, maybe he is from where
If you are where you are on the map, then you definitely are. But it's up to you whether that's actually where he would have been. That's currently next to like a low ruined stone wall.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah. You see her wipe continuous tears from her face as you talk to her, Bungo. Like stifling a lot of crying.
Oh fuck! I wasn't recording all of that for my voice.
No.
Everything else, just not what I was saying. So you missed out on Bungo Cool speech, but oh well. At least I cottoned on like 10 minutes into the session, so it's fine.
Good catch.
Yeah. Yeah. She's crying. Yep. I have nothing. I've been hiding from you this whole time, Bungo, and I don't think there's much of anything I can say to. You're too generous for your own kind sometimes, Bungo, and well, I don't deserve to be forgiven for this. You both died,
Shush.
and
dear.
yeah,
There is no atonement to be had. My words still stand true. We all make mistakes. I have made these mistakes before. I have lost people because of these kinds of mistakes, and forgiveness is not what is needed amongst family. It is understanding, and it is patience, and it is communion.
Yeah, you see she's like almost crumbling under her own legs, and she's just holds a hand out to you, Bungo.
He takes it.
Yeah, she pulls you in for a hug.
Yeah, he hugs her tightly.
You deserve to know, and even letting the thing go, it could be bad. It could be. I didn't know what was the right thing, and I still don't.
What is it, dear? Like, we all need to understand what that is. What I have given to them. It troubles me. I do not know what I have handed over, that someone would seek so greatly that they were willing to kill, and they were powerful enough to kill.
Yeah, she nods like vigorously at you, and she's maybe we should all sit down.
Yes. Let's gather somewhere quiet. Ethelbert, wherever you are. You'll call out to Ethelbert.
What?
Would you be?
I'm very sorry about the echo, by the way.
It's fine. Would you be willing to? You have ability with stone that I do not. Could you be able to carve out somewhere private we could all talk? I do not wish to disturb the people we travel with. This is too confusing for folks such as them.
I'm pretty used to carving out a little niche myself. All right.
And do I have the ability? That's the question. I can't at the moment because I can't meld into stone.
Yeah, Ethelbert, you've had a busy day of spellcasting. What I would say is that with your connection to the land around you, I don't think you'd need to carve anything. I think probably you can just take a moment to silence yourself and sense the area around you and just find a little sort of natural fault in the rock that you know is big enough for people to gather inside.
Yeah. It's a shame I can't do it because somebody used all my spell slots.
In a super sweet way.
What level of spell is meld into stone?
I think it's like 3rd level.
Would you allow this, Tom? Would Bungo be able to use a charge of the Pearl of Power to regain a spell slot for Ethelbert in this situation, since we have the time and...
I think you used the Pearl of Power to get Revivify.
You are right, I did.
And
Forgot
plus,
to tick it
Stone
off.
Shape's what you want, which is
sorry.
4th level. It's all good.
Like
But
Tom says, I think we can just kind of do it.
yeah, Ethelbert will lead you calmly to a natural fault in the stone that looks quite small in the opening, but as you sort of shuffle inside, you see it opens up to quite a comfortable little cavern underneath, maybe 150 feet away from Turchak's Folly itself.
Yeah, Bungo would gather around Grey and Blam, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you find yourself gathered in this small cavern.
Atala just sits down next to Bungo, presumably. And yeah, I guess she just tells him about the cube, what she's been doing with it. It was early days when I found this cube it's just in my bag, and I wasn't really sure what it was or what it did. And well, you know me, Bungo. I'm always there for the research and the challenge. So of course I started looking at it, and well, it sternly let me know that it didn't want anyone else to know about it. And well, this is quite a mysterious object, and I didn't really want to disturb any of you. And she looks around the table as with such a concern while you're all busy on this quest, an important one at that.
Dear, I think both Grey and Blam will agree with me that hiding such things, worrying about being a burden, you do not need to. I'm guilty of the same, but we must try to share that burden,
Yeah,
especially in times like these.
She nods solemnly and with like a slow nod, and she's, I understand. It's just always easier said than done,
I know.
Especially when with the things I've seen trying to examine it. You remember you had that dream, Bungo, with Lyra?
Yes.
And yeah, I was there for one of those, and something with snake eyes, and well, Tala would remember, but Hannah doesn't exactly remember what it was. But and something with Bahamut as well.
Would she give all the details she could remember of everything that's happened so far?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So she'd recount to you all a powerful dream of vision of this huge wall in a grey plain with nothing else visible there. This wall 100, 200 feet tall, that seemed on closer inspection to be made of people writhing and moaning in this wall. And yeah, this vision of a huge serpent, a snake's eye.
With all this info, would
Yep.
Bungo be able to determine what he thinks whatever this entity might
Yep.
be?
Everyone is welcome to make religion rolls, history rolls, arcana rolls, whatever you think your character would be able to connect to the information that's being given to them.
Oh, great.
Athletics check.
13.
Yep, you can do an athletics check, and I will give you the information that you receive for that.
All it said in Naruto was a big demon.
When's your religion from
I'm not going to roll anything. I don't think Gray would have a clue where to even.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah, so Bungo's DC is a little bit lower, but that's a good roll from Ethelbert. I'm going to actually give you two different pieces of information. Bungo, though maybe you'll share it straight away. Bungo, it's not so much the serpent, the essence of the serpent that clicks for you. It's the wall, actually. Hearing of this empty grey plane, you connect this from your own reading around Lyra, understanding, talking to people, how much of an emphasis there is for you on joy and experience. This place is almost the polar opposite of that. Is a place of emptiness, perfectly grey and still, except for this grey wall. You know this to be the fugue plane, a place where souls go when they die, particularly when they do not have a strong connection to a certain deity, and therefore are not spirited to that deity's plane of afterlife. With a 13, you know that this wall is a horror, particularly to those that are faithful. This is something that your faith gives you safety against, and you are very grateful for it. You know this to be the wall of the faithless. People without a connection, any connection to their deity, are sometimes trapped here into this great wall, almost as like a kind of punishment or purgatory for not aligning themselves with a powerful being, a deity or a patron. It's a very awful fate for a soul to reach, an endless fate. Aethelbert, on the other hand, you spend a lot of time gazing up into the sky, looking at the stars, communing with powers beyond just your mortal shell of being a crazy old dwarf man. And so, this is something that's sort of come to you in strange visions and dreams, which you actually have quite often. And this is something you've connected together out of patterns, and as you hear about this, you're kind of like, oh, that's that. You've seen visions of a great and powerful serpent. However, it does, whenever you see it in your visions, you get patterns of serpents not necessarily flexing their great power or attacking anything, but more slinking and subtly working their way into the minds and, in fact, dreams of other beings. Something that preys on dreams and sleep. You don't know much more about that, but as you form this idea in your head, there is a kind of flash of insight, of direct communion with the powers that you connect with, and you just get the name Dendar.
That sounds like another one of those things that sounds like a word. Or words that sounds like a noise. Tom's been taking the piece out of me for saying bedonked.
Biscuit.
Dendar. Dendar sounds like another one of those words. Okay, yeah. He'd just be like,
that sounds like Dendar to me.
Dendar? Would I be familiar or not really?
I think perhaps Bungo, your familiarity would be slight. But I think probably with all your traveling and stories that you tell, you've heard this used almost as like a story to scare people, something to tell late at night around the campfire of this great night serpent that will, if you're not good, will come along and steal your dreams away and leave you this almost like empty, ever sleeping body.
This is
trapped there forevermore.
With the name in hand, can Natala do a history or anything? Or
100%. Yeah, this is all a lot of information coming together.
I'm familiar with the stories, but...
Ooh!
Let me see.
When you've been racking your brain, Atala, in your sleepless nights, turning the thoughts over and over in your mind, and trying to commune with the cube and think about things, all those times, and you've been close, and it's been like an itch in the back of your mind that now suddenly just bursts loose, and you know what this entity is. This is Dendar, the Night Serpent. You know this to be an evil entity, an entity that preys on weakness in the form of sleep and dreams. How much that matches up to your experience, I leave it up to you. But you know this being to be a manipulative one. You know this being to be one that, looks to gain power. It's a very, very old. I think that would be one of the biggest things that comes from that history check is you've seen this name rarely but steadily come up in tomes that go back and back and back to like your most ancient scrolls that are like falling apart, practically dust in your hands. This is a deity that's been spoken about. Ancient, powerful, ominous. Whether, like I said, it might make you question what that means in terms of the messages you've received, but yeah, suddenly things fall into place with that name.
Yeah, she'd probably relay that to the group, and that has been on the tip of my tongue, Ethelbert. It all makes sense. Bungle, even before the cube came into my possession somehow, well, again, my reluctance to speak the truth to you is, I couldn't be more sorry, but I haven't really been able to sleep that well recently, not at all. I've been pretending. And she looks to the group for their reaction as well to that. I'm sorry.
Atala, I know you're not the most experienced of adventurers out of us, but surely Bungo's told a tale or two of what happens when people harbor strange, dark, ancient artifacts they know nothing about to themselves in the hopes of learning about it, controlling it. Surely you must have realized this wasn't a good cube.
Well, I had my inclinations, but you're right. We've told many a tale about this sort of thing. But again, it was just nothing that I could really do to solve the situation as it was, and I didn't want to get us into any more. I thought that I could handle it myself, and clearly I was mistaken. And you see she starts to get a bit upset at the same time.
When Gray says that, would he be looking at anyone in particular?
Atala.
Yeah.
Oh, like I wondered if you were hinting at something that had happened before where Ethelbert would be like,
No, not in particular.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't aware of its just how dangerous it could be until Ethelbert mentioned the name. But yeah.
The dream, the vision. I had Lyra had the eyes of a serpent. I am very much convinced this Dendara folk tale, a legend mixed in with the reminds me of the stories of the Aboleth and other creatures of the night. But I am fully convinced that, based on what you've said about the cube and which he has said about the symbols appearing.
Yeah, she would have said, yeah.
And the symbols of both Lyra and Bahamut. This is my my connection to Lyra is still strong, but it is not quite the same as it was. She is like she was sleeping, and I think this night serpent has done something, and that makes me very nervous. And if we've given that cube to people who clearly have the intent to hurt, then it makes me worry even more.
I know. I really would have liked to at least speak to them, to see their intentions, but I guess it just didn't really go our way.
I think they made their intentions
I was working on
very
that.
clear.
Yeah.
To kill someone in cold blood.
I know.
Without reason or purpose. I am no stranger to killing myself. I am not proud of much of my journey as Lyra's right hand. I have forever, as you all know, been a reluctant hero. I am no hero. But we must. We cannot look upon them with too much kindness. Yet.
Ungo, you literally saved my life. How are you not a hero?
He smiles and he just says, I don't feel like one. My mother always told me the stories of the Scarlet Mummers and all the different heroes of Lyra and the different heroes of all the gods, and I've never felt like I quite fit in. But I'm not trying to be down on myself. I am simply trying to point out that whoever the trio were, they were willing to cut both you and I down without hesitation, Grey. That shows fanaticism to something. It takes fanaticism to do that.
Or, if like Atala, maybe they have no idea what they're doing. In their eyes, they could see themselves as the heroes and us the villains.
Maybe. I do not know, but whoever they were, we need to find them. And we need to get that cube back, and we need to destroy it.
But we don't know anything about it. We have our other mission, and now we have a young girl to find.
You're right, there is priorities, but
I will say that I've had this inability to sleep for much longer than I've had the cube. I don't know how much it's with me, if you know what I mean.
Well, I have ways of learning more. Lyra's magic is powerful. I think we have priorities. We must find Jurek. We must make our way to the monastery. Perhaps we can find answers there. Perhaps we can Perhaps I can contact whoever those people were, and maybe we can come to some kind of dialect. The two who cut us down, I do not trust, but the other one, whatever wish PJ's magic granted Blam to bring me back, it brought me a sense of clarity over the battlefield. One was trying to revive me. The bargain.
For their own gain.
Yes, but maybe there is some hope in contacting this. Just simply learn more. I do not know. Maybe perhaps not.
I highly doubt they'll be putting themselves in a position to be contactable. They're gone. I highly doubt we'll ever see them again.
I have ways. Lyra.
Sorry, Tom. You know when they were like cornering Atala up in this corner up here?
Yep.
And they cast a spell. I think it was a pain, like power word pain or something.
Yeah.
But they weren't immediately killing her.
Yeah.
Did they look like that was about to be happening on the next turn, for example? Or
Do an insight check for me. And I will say with disadvantage because this was at the time you were under the effects of power pain, but we'll see. You get 5. In that moment, it was very difficult through the racking pain to tell. However, you wouldn't have needed to roll at all to see that there was from the demeanor of the three, there was a big difference between all three of them. Bungo has alluded to this already. The long dark hair, the spellcaster, the one that Grey was speaking to initially, seemed a lot more even-tempered and even-handed, ready to talk. The beautiful, exotic, scimitar-wielding woman seemed quite, what's a good word for it? Quite, changeable. She would sort of, at one moment seem very graceful and elegant and not someone to just cut someone down, and then at others just look like this vicious predator. And then the barbarian, the plate-wearing warrior just seemed like a force of nature, just seemed like this pure aggression and fury. More so, I would say, Blam's rage is something he channels and works for him on the battlefield. This creature was a step away from frothing at the mouth and just completely lost in zealotry and fury. So I think even with the 5, you think it's almost like traffic lights. You don't think the long-haired one would have, the beautiful scimitar wielder, maybe the barbarian, would have crushed you.
Yeah. Just wondering if there was like an intent to kill in general.
It's the whole scene, the whole combat, everything. It's completely fair for Atala to think that there's definitely something there about them wanting to talk to you. They clearly wanted the cube, but whether they wanted to talk to you on top and the combat made that impossible, you don't know. But you can draw conclusions.
Bungo would also add, he'd say, the description you gave of the Grey Wall, I believe it speaks of the fugue plane, purgatory, for those, a punishment for those that are faithless. Whatever this situation is, I do not have any answers, but I think we are clearly wrapped up in some force of zealotry, fanaticism. Faith plays a very important theme here.
I would agree. From what I've gathered anyway, from my time with the cube, I've had plenty of it.
Perhaps one of them will, if I use Lyra's magic to send a message. Perhaps they will be willing to talk to someone else who understands faith. Maybe not. But Grey is right. We cannot sit around talking about the past and talking about what's happened and plan for eventualities that we don't even know will take fruition. We should focus on the task at hand and push on for the monastery. If I know Sandrau, and I only know Sandrau as well as I know Elodius, and if Elodius was here, he would push on to the monastery alone. I think she'll do the same.
Tala nods. I think so. She looks around the table again, specifically mostly at Grey and Bongo. She's I'm so sorry that I brought this upon you both. I didn't mean it.
There is no apology necessary, dear. Not from me.
Well, maybe Grey would accept my apology. Maybe at least in time.
What's done is done. Hopefully the lesson has been learned here and this won't happen again.
She turns to Blam as well. And Blam, I don't know how or what you did, but thank you for bringing Bungo back. I don't know what I'll do without him.
Well, we all need Bongo.
Bungo smiles.
That we do.
Much like we all need Blam Wolfhorn. And Grey. And Atala. And even Ethelbert the Unsteady. And we must...
I've told them before, I hate that nickname.
Apologies. We also need Sandrau, and we need Jorik.
He would be in. Ethelbert would be in the background, just like flexing and being like,
Nothing unsteady about me, huh, Lonnie?
etc., etc.
Bungo would also say, to sort of finish off the conversation, he'd say, like I said, whatever is happening, it's clearly wrapped up in faith, and, well, I think you would agree, Grey, that there is no one wiser in the matters of faith that we know than Archelon Jorik. Let's go find him.
It's like a plan to me.
It's a shame you pissed off that cat woman.
Fair point.
She knew a lot about faith. Bloody godfatherers coming up here, knocking on my mountain.
Let's get moving.
I assume we're gonna have to try and sleep first, right?
I think we should just push straight on. I think Grey was correct. We need to...
You have decisions to make. Pushing on further will start to incur exhaustion. Well, rather checks for exhaustion. I don't believe you used the full 8 hours of travel the day before, but it was close. So I'd say probably a couple of hours of travel. You've got the map, you've got the landmarks written on, noted on old Bjarna Baghorn's map by Archelon Kylo when you met with her on the stair before. So it should be a straight shot for you. It's about half a day's travel. So 4 hours of travel. So you're likely to incur a couple of exhaustion checks. And of course, you will not...
Am I meant to be on one level of exhaustion? I can't remember.
It would make sense, wouldn't it? Because you didn't get proper rest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because of your trick. Yeah, I think the good barrels maybe are on one level. I'm not sure. Maybe that's a good way to judge it. Has Atala, do you have a level of exhaustion?
Let me have a look when the page loads.
Ethelbert would be like,
I don't want to go anywhere. I was partway through something.
Yeah,
Leave Tani unsatisfied.
Yeah, if Atala's got one as well, I think, yeah, you are meant to have just the one level now.
Whoops, should have been rolling a disadvantage on my
Yeah,
ability
shit.
checks.
It's alright, don't worry about it.
Does
Power
short
of the
rest
moment.
at least stave off exhaustion?
The short resting thing has been kind of my homebrew travel rules for going up the mountain. Usually no. And these exhaustion checks that you'll be making are on top of what you'd normally be making.
Yeah.
Because as you would go past the 8 hours.
So basically, if we decide to bother this lot and say, hey, we're moving now, they're all going to get exhausted as well.
Yes. If they go with you.
Well, let's split the party. No.
Isn't
Split
it?
it further.
What's the number of exhaustion to lose? So second exhaustion, your speed is half, so it might even take even longer to get there if we get exhausted.
That's the factor. Yep. Though you had been playing with that with further down the mountain using the disc.
Mm-hmm.
You could do the old Atala does disc, Bungo sits on disc, Blam carries Atala thing, but
Yeah,
that
it's
was-
a cheeky way to get around it.
Because I was playing in a new campaign yesterday with Genie Warlock, I was thinking about using the thingy, and I was thinking, like, you could be a fucking elf Genie Warlock and trance inside your thing for 4 hours while other people carry you. And then have a whole troop of Genie Warlocks, and you can just, like, keep doing that with elf Genie Warlock party.
what you're telling me is that you need one barbarian called Blam Wolfhorn with a strap of Pokeball themed Genie Warlock elves in the thing that he throws out to summon them.
It's so good.
Yeah, no, Genie Warlock's got some mad shit that you can do. But anyway, what's the plan?
I think defer to Grey on this one. He's probably the best scout, and that's not
Tyler's
Bungo's.
making no decisions right now.
That's not Bungo's level of expertise.
Half a day's travel, 4 hours travel.
And we'd have to make 2 exhaustion checks, right?
But you think so, yeah?
I got nothing to, like, no spells really beyond. I could bless us, but that only lasts a minute.
Could all of this lot, if they went off and had a nap now, could they finish their long rest, or would this battle have, like, interrupted it, basically?
I'll say you're experienced travelers, adventurers. These Muppets are sleeping through fine. So yeah, I'd say you could take up the rest of the long rest as needed. About half. Another 4 hours.
How much? Another 4 hours.
Take you through to morning, yeah.
And the
probably about
monastery is
2
roughly 4 hours away.
Yeah.
What we doing?
Grace thinking you lot go finish your rest and he'll go off to try and get Sandral. Because if anyone has a chance to catch up, it would be him.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, going off on my own in some
Especially after what's happened, I don't like that idea.
No. He'd suggest that, and you're free to talk him down.
I think Bungo would say that we either all go together or we don't go at all.
Actually, what Ethelbert said earlier, Grey's aware. All you magic people, you're running low on your magic spells, so. And yeah, he doesn't think it's a great idea, but it was what he was willing to do, so. Let's go finish our snooze, I think.
Could always try the wand of wonders.
Hey!
No, I'm not doing that.
Roll that D1.
No.
Yeah, let's finish the long rest.
We'd be very fucked if I rolled the petrified one.
Oh my gosh. Yep.
Because I
Okay.
don't have spells to undo it right now.
you head back inside and see the slumbering forms, snoring loudly in Varda's case, of your dwarven and one halfling companions, without any knowledge of all these world-shaking things, revelations, combat, dying, coming back to life, that has just occurred for the rest of you. You find your favoured spots and settle down to finish the rest of your sleep.
As everybody knows that Atala doesn't need to sleep now, she will be just awake, not even pretending.
Very good.
I'm over here, keep watch.
You want to do a perception check for me with disadvantage for your exhaustion?
Mm-hmm.
Just picturing Varda waking up, be like, "Oh, it was a bit of a rough night. I didn't sleep great. How about the rest of you?"
Bit of indigestion. Oh, I hate when that happens.
Oh, my back.
I had an awful dream. I had to take all my money to the top, and then there's nothing to buy at the top of the thing.
He would wake up from that nightmare. Jesus.
Yeah.
Excellent roll. 18. You stare out into the night, Atala, and there's so much tumbling around your head now, things to think about, but also I think probably an incredible weight off your shoulders, as now you no longer have to carry this burden alone. And a sense of gratitude and perhaps deepened bond with some of your companions in the arrows. You think perhaps if they weren't happy with you, they would have said so, and to forgive what's happened is a big thing, and the acceptance you feel is a warm blanket over your shoulders as you sit and look out into the snow. No figures appear, no monsters emerge from the snow, but there is some bad news as the time wears on. As you get towards the dawn and the light begins to break over the ridges ahead, you hear a unfortunately familiar noise by this point. The sound of thunder crashing out above you, and heavy rain begins to fall as the horrible tempestuous weather of the mountain has once again turned on a silver piece, and you are met with a horrible, bleak, heavy thunderstorm as the new day greets you. The rest of you wake, probably woken by the crashing, heavy sound of thunder. You can all take the benefit of a long rest. Those who can prepare spells, feel free to shift those around as you prefer. And just let me know when you're ready to begin your day.
Yeah, give me a minute because I need to prepare stuff.
Yeah, give me a minute too.
I've been watching too much Calamity, Tom. When you did the thunder sound effect, I was expecting you to be like, "It's the fireworks display."
That's pretty good. Oh, such a great moment.
Don't worry, this happens all the time.
Right, what do I want? Do I have this? Do I not have any? Thought I had some. I don't think I do. Damn it,
On the other side of the ruined Tower of Turchak's Folly, you see Varda Sunderston. No horrible dreams about money. He wakes and stretches, starts kicking his guards. Come along, boys. We've got a monastery to get to. You two, Yoris, and gives a particularly nasty little boot to Yoris Craghelm on the ground as Yoris stirs awake.
Oh yeah, I'm doing that. Do I have the thing for that? I think I do.
He steps up. Varda Sunderston steps up to you, Ethelbert, and says, So, Dwarven stock, always good to see. You're not local, are you? You from Mirabar?
No.
All right, just asking. Whereabouts are you from then, if you don't mind telling me?
From on the mountain.
Right, but before the mountain, you know.
I don't remember.
Oh.
Tom, I genuinely don't know where he's from.
I love it. Bardock looks around to the two surlier guards and gives a little, ooh, like crazy finger motion next to his head.
I saw that.
He turns around and puts his hands up. Whoop, sorry, old timer. Apologies.
I've just been on this darn mountain for a very long time. The DM won't tell me where I'm from.
I don't think he knows where he's from.
You know my backstory, so you just, yeah, whatever, you do it.
Tom,
Yeah.
we agreed at the beginning of the campaign that Bungo bought a crystal ball that was good enough to use scrying with, correct?
Yes.
Good.
Cool. So, the day begins. You know that travel in this rain, this storm will be difficult when you've had a storm before. Sometimes you have preferred to stay inside and wait it out. What's your plan now?
I do look
Jeez.
like a waiter, right?
Mechanically, what
hailing.
are the drawbacks of going through a storm?
Mechanically, you'll be moving at half pace as the thunderstorm buffets you about. And you will have disadvantage on any perception or survival checks.
Okay. So assuming it doesn't lighten up, that takes it to 8 hours of travel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I've not even finished doing my spells yet.
It's all good.
Okay, I think I'm done.
It's when it lightens up. But we would know
Gray's
that.
going to want to go off ahead, but he won't push everyone else to join him. If anyone else wants to wait it out, they're welcome to. But he's going to go on. And this time he's a little more adamant.
Blam wants to get on.
I've got two things to do though before that.
Mm-hmm.
Have a piss, take shit.
Yeah. Well, it's actually three things. First of all, I want to.
Shave, shower, shit, as
Yeah.
my colleagues.
I want to cast at 4th level aid on Gray, myself, and Atala for 15 to your max and current HP.
It's alright now, I won't
Thank
take
you.
it.
So that'll be 78 for me. And then I want to. Yeah, we're only 4 hours away. I don't know. One of them I definitely want to do. Second, I'm not sure. I'm gonna
It
cast.
could be more than 4 hours.
I'm gonna cast Scrying on Sandrow.
Okay. I believe it's a wisdom save.
Yeah, which is modified by how well you know the target and the sort of physical connection you have to it. The target knows you're casting a spell. It can fail the saving throw voluntarily if it wants to be observed. So the I'll just post it in the things. It's a bit.
Hell no! She thinks it's a god.
Yeah.
And she got that 20.
Yeah.
Well,
Wait,
no.
Yeah.
Do you not also tell who is trying to scry on you? Or just at something?
I don't believe they do know.
Familiar would.
Yeah, it says if a target knows you're casting this spell. Sandra
Yeah.
doesn't know Bungo's
No.
casting the spell.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I
So
would.
she will make a save.
Would it be familiar? Would I know the target well?
Yeah, I think so.
So she'd get -5
Mm-hmm.
Got a nat 20.
to her roll. Fuck.
Oh!
Could you send her a sending first before you do it so she knows?
the save's been
Something
rolled.
down.
I would say.
I think he wanted to do it first and then cast sending because he wanted to sort of see
Right.
if she was just safe first, or to see, because if he casts sending and she's in a dodgy situation, he knows from experience that that can be kind of a difficult thing for someone.
Yeah, Nat 20, you feel a powerful resistance of will. I'd say you do still get some information from it, which is that Sandral is alive, definitively, to have resisted your spell. And I'll say with a Nat 20 Sandral, you get a little inkling in the back of your mind that it was Bungo trying to scry on you.
When would this have happened?
So this would have been before you went to sleep. This would have been right as dawn was starting to crest and you were about to head to sleep. Probably, yeah, we'll say, because this doesn't really change anything, we'll say as you were like lying in bed about to go to sleep.
Yeah. I think because she was so fucking exhausted then she might not have really...
Yeah, dozy feeling as you were drifting off. Yeah.
I might have thought it was a dream.
Bungo would then cast sending to Sandral, and he would just say, yeah, it's me, Bungo, Sandral. I know you may not be expecting to hear from me, but me and Grey and the rest of us are safe. Are you okay?
So this is where stuff can get weird because we've played out this time span for Sandral separately.
She would think it was that thing trying to trick her from earlier and wouldn't respond.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yo, pick up the phone!
So, Bungo, you notably know that she's alive. Both spells have gone through, but there is no response to your sending spell.
Interesting. He's going to cast sending to Elodius then.
Okay.
And he's going to say, Elodius, it's Bungo. We've had a difficult encounter. Have you heard from Sandral at all?
Add more words if you want
them. No, he wouldn't.
Okay.
No, he would. He would say, all we want to know is that she is safe.
Perfect.
Elodius would say, what the bloody hell? Sandral said you were dead, Bungo! How are you alive? That's a good thing, but, yes. And he just ends it like that.
He actually laughs a little bit and smiles, and he'd look to Grey and say, she's safe.
You're sure?
Elodius's reaction was more than enough to determine that, I think. Then I'm going to use the Pearl of Power to regain a 3rd level spell slot.
Cool. Getting out of the way.
Yeah. And then finally, do I do it now? Fuck it. I'm gonna scry on the fucking UNT. The one with the long hair. The one that was trying to revive Bungo.
I was going to say good choice, because that will count as meeting the target. So this is a straight roll to resist.
I was going to ask first before we do that, though.
Yep.
Because I don't know if this will count, but Atala...
Oh, you have a likeness.
I was going to say, do we have a likeness? That was the question. Because I was going to ask Atala to use... Because she can use Minor Illusion, right, Hannah?
I can use Major Image if you need it.
I mean... yeah. If you could conjure up what she looked like, if Atala's able to do that, that would give her a -2 on her save.
Yeah, Atala's pretty clever.
What? Why?
Because...
You have a likeness of them. It's like... the idea is it focuses your magic further.
Yeah. Oh shit! Cool.
Yeah. Do you want a major image, or will a minor one do? I don't know.
Mechanically, I can tell you a minor one would be fine.
Minor illusion. There you go.
Yep. So the image is summoned. Bungo, you focus on it. There's a swell of magic through your staff and yourself as you reach out your mind, this time not towards a friendly target, but a recent enemy. Alright, let's make this roll. I'm going to do it hidden. Okay. What's the modifier? -2.
Yeah.
And the DC?
18.
Okay. Your mind surges out, riding the golden orange light of Lyra forwards. Through snow and clouds, no sense of direction in this horrific, crashing thunderstorm. You can sense yourself moving, and you think it's working before there's just a snap, as it almost feels like the spectral face of a serpent leaps forward in your vision and just clasps its teeth down in front of you, and you are shocked back into your awareness, and the spell is resisted.
Fuck. Yeah. They are strong enough to resist my scrying spell. I cannot see where they are now. If they happen to lie in wait for us, I don't know. I do not think it's necessarily likely, but I wanted to see if maybe they were.
Mm. I guess all we can do is keep an eye. They have the cube, so I mean, I can't think of a reason they'd come back. But yeah, it's a good attempt.
Let's I'm ready to head on whenever everyone else is.
Can I say Atala's been casting the disc thing?
Yeah. No worries.
Yeah, so she's got a little disc.
Very good.
Whoever wants to sit on it for now.
Varda would shuffle closer to it. And climb on if no one stops him.
Yeah, you can get off for now, I guess. Are we leaving in the rain, or?
We could wait, I suppose.
She looks to Grey.
Oh, what was it she said? Leaving the...
Oh, are we leaving in this rain? In the storm?
I plan to.
Can't wait forever.
Yeah. Let's go then.
Okay. You set out, Varda and some of the Varda's guards grumbling, but not any properly vocal complaints.
Bungo is also going to cast one more thing. He was going to cast, because I now have this spell from Acquisitions Incorporated, Motivational Speech.
Oh wow, okay.
You address allies, staff, or innocent bystanders to exhort and inspire them to greatness, whether they have anything to get excited about or not. Choose up to 5 creatures, so Aethelbert, myself, Atala, Grey, and Blam. Within range you can heal. For the duration, each affected creature gains 5 temporary hit points. There's advantage on wisdom saving throws. If an affected creature is hit by an attack, it has advantage on the next attack roll it makes.
Oh my god.
Beautiful. Once an affected creature loses the temporary hit points granted by the spell ends for that creature.
I remember this.
It lasts an hour. I'm trying to, but I can't actually, for some reason. Oh wait, it's because I'm on the wrong bit.
Does this extra HP stack with the...
Yeah, because it's temper HP, and aid actually changes your max HP.
Gotcha. There you go.
Oh, awesome. For an hour. Cool.
Yeah, it's only an hour, but...
Yeah, no, still very cool. That's a good use of a 3rd level spell slot. Right. So, you head out, trekking forward. This stretch you know from the map isn't so treacherous as the stair itself. The stair appears in patches as you head forward. You occasionally see it poking through heavy snow, but mostly you're without the stair. And you have to guide yourself by the landmarks. But fortunately for you, the landmarks are marked on the map with directions to them, and so you find them without issue. Your first hour of travel passes, covering only half an hour of ground. So you've got 3.5 hours left of ground to cover, and an hour of time has passed. Are you going to do your previous short resty for an hour thing, or are you just going to push on?
Happy to push on.
To avoid exhaustion.
To avoid exhaustion, you could do the Disky thing. That would work for that as well, if that's something Atala can do.
Let's do the Disky thing.
Yeah.
Can I also do, since there's not much of a stairs, there's not much to slip on, so can I do water walk as well?
Yes. Is that on everyone?
I think it's on 10 people.
Which is exactly how many people you have with you currently.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll say that helps your journey and gives you a boost, gets rid of the half speed for now. So you're pushing on. Atala and Bungo would be the ones worried about exhaustion. You think perhaps Barda himself might get a bit exhausted, but I don't know how much anybody cares about that. You move forward, reaching within half an hour, what would have taken an hour before, reaching the first of the 4 landmarks, an impressive peak that is split. It almost looks like lightning has struck a tree, a split peak of the mountain. I don't know what you're signing to me, Anya. And you recognize it from the little drawing that Kyla had made on the map, and you kind of mentally tick it off and know that you need to head on to the next one. You walk for half an hour more, heavy snow, somewhat getting dampened down with the rain. You're maybe halfway towards the next landmark, which you know is like a needle, a spine, almost of a peak that you should be looking for that sticks out from the range around it. But you don't get there. I will say, anyone with a passive perception of 15 or above, which I know includes Bungo, but I think also definitely includes Grey, perhaps others, you spot a troop of immediately recognizable white dragonborn heading towards you. Some in the same plate mail spears that you've seen of the guards before, but a few of the others in more what you as seasoned adventurers would recognize as more like scout or ranger gear, different leathers, cloaks, hoods, and particularly with, I'd say for you really, only the one who would recognize this Grey, the figure who seems to be leading the troop, this tall white dragonborn, is carrying a bow that is immense in size. It practically looks like someone has turned a ballista on its side and is just using that as what is functionally a great bow, slung across their broad back. The troop approaches you. You notice them, and because of your perception, you can act if you want to. They're not sneaking. They are approaching you openly across this kind of snowed-in valley that you're in right now. What would you like to do?
When you say approaching us, as in they've seen us and they are specifically heading towards us, or just heading in our direction?
You think they've seen you and they're heading towards you.
Specifically, how many are there?
9 in total.
They're white dragonborn. I see no reason to.
I'm trying to remember what happened last time, 'cause I can't remember exactly what happened, but it feels like we barely got past them. What was it?
No,
What did we do?
We did speak to some.
When you met with
Yeah.
Kyla, it took a lot of convincing.
Mm.
She was very cold until you managed to convince her that you were good friends of Jorek. At which point she helped you and marked on the landmarks. Before that, she was very strict and essentially saying that Varda's scroll would only allow access to the monastery for him and his guards, not the rest of you. But yeah.
So, yeah, I doubt that trick will work a second time.
Plus, she gave us a specific phrase to say, I'm pretty sure. Tell High Marshal and Speaker we bring information in aid of the clan.
There you go. Where's my journal? Sure, I had that written down. I wish my notes would stay open every time.
It is Sandra out. She's back.
Nope, didn't see nothing.
Yep, alright. We got that then. We're good.
I actually made notes this campaign and it worked. It helped.
I do
Hell
too.
yeah.
But as I said, I wish it stayed open because I keep it open and then it seems to disappear in the next thing. Wish there was a way to keep it open.
So are we doing anything? Or are we waiting to be addressed? What's going
Head
on?
towards them.
Yeah,
Head towards them.
Let's
Okay.
head towards them.
You start moving towards them. The figure at the front of the group seems to signal to the rest to slow down, and they all slow as they approach you. And you hear this strong voice calling out over the battering wind and the thunder. She would call out, "Arrows! My name is Archelon Kira. I come to help."
Bungo nods and introduces himself.
She would nod, quite curtly, but fully. Please could Atala Goodbarrel step forward?
Okay.
Bungo do an insight check.
Of course.
I was about to when she said, here to help.
Fuck, I keep running shit.
You can do one, Grey.
Heffalump help.
Heffalump help, you whisper to yourself and hear a little...
Yeah, that's better.
What's a heffalump?
19.
You hear Ethelbert say next to you. With 19s, there is a... There are no hands-on weapons beyond, you see, the guards carry their spears in their hand anyway, and they're just at attention. But with a 19, this individual seems professional, seems strong in voice and figure, and the fact she's got a great bow strapped across her back. There is a potential threat there, you think. She has incredibly piercing blue eyes, the eyes of a hunter, but there's no... With a 19, there's a held threat, if you like, a drawn arrow, but not, or a knocked arrow, I suppose. So not drawn. It doesn't feel like they're about to strike or she's about to strike.
Bungo's gonna move up to Atala still and place a hand on, like hold her hand.
Wait, what did Hera ask specifically?
Could Atala Goodbarrel please step forward?
Yeah, and Grey will be like, yeah, don't worry, we're all coming over.
Good response.
Ola looks at everyone for. Are we all just walking over there?
Yeah, Grey carries on.
If you start all walking over there, she would hold up a hand and say, "Stand where you are."
Bungo, as he's touching Atala's hand, is going to just whisper, lean into her whisper, and he's gonna behind her back with his other hand, is gonna verbally and somatically cast Death Ward on her, trying to make it so they don't notice.
Yeah, roll a sleight of hand check.
I'm really good at these.
Hmm.
10.
Okay. You cast the spell and you whisper to Atala.
Well, I've managed to avoid one conversation. I guess I better try this one. She steps forward in front of whoever's up front.
Gray would sort of hold his hand out, like, is there a problem?
Not unless one is made.
Well, you said you were here to help us. We don't have a problem with you. So...
She shoots you a respectful look, Gray. She kind of nods at that, and she unslings her... In fact, no, she wouldn't do that because it would ruin the string. She takes the quiver of arrows from her, you see, is attached to her belt. And you see these arrows are more like flipping quarterstaffs in the quiver. But she, like, takes it in both hands and makes a big point of, like, putting it down on the ground. I'd unsling my bow, but the snow would ruin the string.
That's fine. A bow without any arrows.
And she would gesture for her companions to step back. They will take like an ordered step back, as if on a parade ground. And she, holding her hands up, takes a step forward. I just wish to speak with Atala. You can all listen.
We'll,
It's okay, Gray. I'll be fine. Thank you, though.
Steps aside.
Yeah, she'll step in front. And why would you like to speak to me? Atala yells out into the Dragonborn.
I've been made aware by Sandral Quinzel of your group
He nods.
that you carry a wanted object. I would ask that you hand it over. Some sort of cube.
I'm afraid you're too late for that. It's gone.
Gone.
Taken. Forcibly.
She starts to nod. And she beckons for the rest of you to step up.
Cool.
I'm following.
Okay. Yep.
I was expecting to find bodies. Warms my heart to see you all alive. Though I think perhaps there's a tale or two to tell. I am Wing Captain Archelon Kira, and she makes a gesture with her hands.
Captain. Sorry.
She shoots Bungo in the head. She does a gesture that looks quite symbolic. It's almost as if making hands as if to pray, but the palms of the hands are separate, like making a point with the tips of your fingers. And she makes that in front of her chest and bows slightly to all of you. I know most of you by reputation. Atala, I apologize if I scared you. I needed to ascertain the whereabouts of this dangerous relic. I couldn't have something potentially threatening my clan or the monastery within its walls. I assume it was taken by, and she sort of side-eyes over towards Varda and gang, and looks back down at you, and says sort of quietly, "Are we speaking in confidence amongst all friends here?"
I haven't had a chance to explain in detail to the guys at the back, and she points to Varda and that. But everyone here already knows.
Do you wish the others to know, or shall I keep them away?
I don't think they need to know how much danger they were in last night. But, I mean, she just sort of shrugs and doesn't really mind if she wants to tell them.
If you don't mind, I will speak openly then. I assume the cube has been taken.
Deafness on all of them. No, sorry.
has been taken by the 3 serpentine folk that accosted you and, to my knowledge, killed 2 of you.
Indeed. And I can't help but think I brought them to us in the end. But, the object
Willingly?
is gone now. Not willingly. I didn't even know that they were following us until, well, somewhat the night before, but
Then let me ask you this. Do you believe they will return for you?
at this point in time, I don't believe so. Don't think so. Mm-mm.
Okay. Where have they gone? Where was the last you saw them?
Just describe the location along the route.
Yeah, and as you do so, you see Kira turn and in Draconic speak quick, sharp orders to the entire rest of the group there, the 3 scouts and the 5 guards, and they all begin to head off down the stair, past the rest of you.
Did you find them careful though? They're quite dangerous.
Fear not. My clan mates have a order to simply observe, not to engage.
Bungo would say, I did attempt to scry on them, but to no avail. They must, have powerful mental defences, which probably means they are adept at spotting those who wish to spy on their whereabouts.
He calls out again in Draconic to the figures that have started filtering away from you. One of the scouts gives a clear nod, and starts gathering in the rest to speak with them.
Bungo's gonna cast Aid at 4th level on 3 of the Dragonborns.
Which 3 guards or the 3
The
scouts?
Scouts.
Okay.
If you are searching for them, you will need as much aid as I can give you. They get 15 to their max and temporary.
Got it.
Out of curiosity, what is everything she said to them in Draconic?
Oh, it's great speak Draconic.
I do.
The first thing she said when she sent them off was, you know your mission. Do not engage. Flee to the caves if you need to. The second thing was updating them on what Bungo said.
Top.
And sorry, love, one sec. With Gray's passive perception, you would have heard what seems to be the lead scout saying to the rest of them, probably in quite a chiding way, basically saying to the guards, like, you will not be going anywhere near these people. Only us 3, the scouts, will be actually looking at them. You'll just be there as backup.
Interesting. Okay, they're very militant and strategic.
Yeah, definitely.
Ooh.
Sorry, Anya.
Sorry, no, I thought you had finished. Would, just out of curiosity, would the guards be familiar with Ethelbert? I assume they might well be.
Sorry, yes. I completely forgot.
Did they say anything to him?
I think he'd notice that the guards, the 5, one of them would give him a weird sort of knowing look of a, like, fancy seeing you here kind of thing. The other 4 would just straight looking ahead, very militant, marching onwards. The scouts seem to keep themselves to themselves. But yeah, one of the guards is like raised eyebrow or eye scale.
Cracking. Yeah.
And
Ethelbert would just look at him like, what?
he would sort of, as close as you can get to blushing, just kind of like look straight back at the stairs and head off. And Kira wasn't. That was my fault. Kira would have addressed you as well, Ethelbert. She wasn't like being rude or ignoring you or anything. That was my bad DMing in that moment. And she would have said, yeah, she knows of you. She would have said,
Crazy old bastard.
go in for the big clasp, the bicep clasp.
Yeah.
No, she would have just said, Mr. Ethelbert, it's good to see you among such illustrious company.
Yes. Good to see you, Kira.
I haven't seen you in any company in a long, long time.
Well, I've been hanging out with Lonnie.
Of course. Are you hoping to come into the monastery along with these good folk?
Sure, why not?
Sorry, I don't know why he's gone a bit Irish. Sure, it's just turned into Mrs. Brown's boys.
Please,
Yeah, I mean, these kids somehow got into my cave and they needed help getting into Rhinebreath Monastery. So I figure it's about time I took a look for myself.
You'd see the very stern, straight-faced Kira actually smile a bit at that and say, "Good. I look forward to seeing what you make of the place, and if you'll forgive me for saying so, what the place might also make of you."
I mean, it's been 72 years. You'd think you'd be used to it by now.
I guess we'll see shortly. If you could all follow me, you're currently taking the, for want of a better way of putting it, the tourist or pilgrim's route. I have a better route for us to take.
Thank you.
I think we'd be grateful to get out of this storm. Assuming it's still storming.
Of course. Mr. Goodbarrel, if you could join me at the front.
Of course. Yeah,
And
we'll move up to the front.
yeah, she'd kind of arrange everyone out behind in a ordered, two abreast line, and head off, keeping a fair pace, making sure not to let people fall behind. And as you begin to move off away from where you thought you were heading with the landmark before, she kind of hunches down towards you, Bungo, and says in a quiet voice, I know about the dragon.
Very well. I am. You may speak freely of your opinion on it.
By luck or by Bahamut's own clawed hand, your young friend made a very good decision and spoke to me before any other. I am, I think, certainly the only figure in the monastery who would not have you immediately arrested and executed. I'm sure you've heard stories of what the dragons mean to my people and the monastery.
I have.
The stories do not do it justice. You must communicate to your troop that this cannot be spoken about with anyone else but myself. And if it is to be spoken with myself, it must be out of earshot of other members of my clan.
Of course. I will make them all aware. And
thank you.
I appreciate your understanding.
As for speaking freely, I actually think you've done the mountain and my people a service. We have an unhealthy attitude towards the dragons, and I would see it gone. But as you are about to find out, that is a thread of our culture that must be unpicked slowly and carefully.
Very well. It's not a decision I made lightly, I can assure you.
I don't doubt that. For your own knowledge, you slew a powerful dragon known to us as Glacier Feast, and known to the younglings of the monastery who like to give them more colourful names, as the Unerring Hunt. Sandral told me that he spoke to you about predator and prey was a particular signature of his.
Yes, I could not allow such a being who's revelled in the joy of toying with others' lives. It was a necessary evil.
Indeed. Now you can see Glacier Feast, and you killed.
Yeah, but it was bad that we killed him because we'd just given him the lady dragon to fall in love with.
Oh god, I forgot about the lady dragon. So yeah, Kira nods to you and actually gestures for you to filter back to the group as she begins to wave people forward.
By the way.
Yeah. Okay. Is anything anyone would like to do or say as Kira leads you swiftly through winding crags, little paths and routes that you would never have spotted yourself? Actually, some tunnels through the mountain itself, which gets you out of the thunderstorm and allows you to continue at a good pace. Is there anything anyone would be doing or saying?
Tala would ask the Dragonborn what she knows about the cube and Dendar and stuff, and if there's would there be a library in a monastery? I don't know.
She would tell you that she knows little, only what Sandral has told her. You mentioned the name Dendar. She wouldn't show any recognition, but she would say to you that if it is a matter of gods and religion, you should speak with the Worship Sworn, the half of my clan that deal with deities, though I cannot guarantee they know anything. As for libraries, we have a great many scrolls, scriptures, and books kept within the Temple of the Adepts. You will have great difficulty gaining entrance to that temple, but perhaps, seeing as I expected to find the ground littered with bodies and instead I find a whole troop hale and hearty, you clearly have talents and powers that perhaps you can put to use to getting yourselves within there.
What was the first thing she said, Tom? The books are in the Temple of the Adepts and the Worship Sworn?
The Worship Sworn is the half of the clan that is dedicated to worship and religion. And I'll add Klonkira to everyone's journal. There she is.
Gray would probably ask her for any information on Jorik.
She'd say, I've spoken at length with Sandral concerning Arkelon Jorik. I will say this to you and ask that you pass it amongst your companions, that if you address any member of the clan within the walls by their first name without explicit permission from them, you will swiftly gain great offense amongst my people. We are a rigid folk.
As in permission from the owner of the name or whoever it is you're talking to?
From the owner of the name, which of course, sadly in Arkelon Jorik's case, would not be possible.
Yeah.
I'm sure he gave you permission between you, and I hope you recognize just how huge of a bond of trust that is for one of my people, especially with outsiders. But sadly, within the walls, it will only cause you trouble.
I can imagine. We'll do our best to remember that. Thank you.
Of course. As for knowledge, I've spoken at length with Sandral. To give it to you in short form, he seemed to withdraw from daily life and from the ways of our people. He left. My scouts last saw him heading over White Wing Bridge towards the mountain Eastfang, to the east. More than that, there's not much I can say, but for now, I hope that satisfies you.
That's something I think that's probably the most up-to-date information we've had so far, right? I don't think anyone else has had anything that useful.
No, I don't think so.
I think everyone
Bung-
else just said he up and left.
Yeah, Bungo's like connection is kind of information in itself. How he's been unable to scry and such and what have you. But yeah,
But like a specific direction, you know.
yeah. But yeah, that's what she'd say to you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Gray would awkwardly try and imitate the way she bowed, kind of to her as a like, thank you. Put his hands
With
together.
the symbol,
Yeah.
yeah, she would crack a small corner of her mouth into a smile at that and say, not bad, and kind of adjust your hand slightly and say, you usually want to hold it up in front of you and bow behind it rather than bowing with it further down, as that would denigrate the mountain.
He's like, yes, of course.
But it was a good start. Time goes on, and you've settled yourself in for a 4-hour journey, but it is only another hour before you begin your approach towards Rheinbreath Monastery itself.
Holy fucking Lula.
Indeed.
That's a big.
It is big. What
It is
big,
real big.
Often bigger.
So,
Kind of-
finally. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, go on, love.
No, no, don't worry.
I'm so terrified.
Oh,
Kind of looks like a giant mountain dick.
Would he say that? Or is that just Anya?
Yeah, yeah.
You would say that. Kira would look towards it. You, Ethelbert, and kind of go a little bit sour in the face, but just say, I appreciate your candidness, Ethelbert, but that would be something else to avoid saying once you're within the walls of
I mean,
monastery.
obviously. I'm just saying it's big and phallic, and I mean, a giant dick is very impressive.
Well, whatever works for you, Ethelbert.
Somewhere up there, Bahamut is just like, yeah, thank you.
Glad someone finally appreciated it.
Yeah.
Finally gets it. So,
No one ever talks about my platinum dragon.
as you are
another story.
as you are led out of a particularly deep tunnel, you are most of the way up a large ridge, and as you get to the top of the ridge, you look out and you see in the distance. Will you behave yourself? You see in the distance a powerful sight. I hate you so much. Built on top of this twisting spire of rock is a stone collection of structures ringed by a very large stone wall. It's an awesome picture, so I wanted to include it, but there are some differences from the picture to the real thing. There is a bell tower that dominates the place itself, but it is much larger, or rather, the bell tower doesn't take up as high a proportion of the place as you see in this picture here. It is much larger. I think perhaps that's what slightly led Kieran's mind to get a bit blown, is going from this picture to the actual thing. It is a big peak that seems to have been worked down. The stone has been flattened at the top to allow building of a number of different buildings. You catch many rooftops peeking out over the top of the wall. This bell tower dominates. From this side, you would see there are clear cylindrical guard towers built into the stone wall itself. It's a powerful sight. And you can kind of breathe out as all this time spent going up the mountain has been leading to now.
After seeing the size of it, Gray would probably ask roughly how many people are in there? Live there?
Yeah. Yeah. Anya, for the love of God! Kira would, without breaking a look at the monastery, and you see she looks at it with appreciation and with love and a sense of duty in her eyes. And she would say to you that the clan is... such a great question. I think she would say we number about 3,000 strong.
Damn, this is like a little proper small city.
Yeah.
In this Mirith or some shit.
Yeah, not quite that grand. The place seems to be built onto one level, so it doesn't have the kind of multi-leveled spiraling up thing that Minas Tirith does. But yeah, it's an impressive sight in the light of day now, though with a thunderstorm ahead.
It's no Phandalin, though, is it?
No Phandalin. So, a little bit more description. This has been a long time coming. So it's built into a sheltered valley. You've got ridges high to your left and right, and you know that you are on the western slopes of Mount Archelon. The monastery would at first seem like a mirage. How could a large, complex settlement exist this far up the rugged mountain? You see sturdy stone walls curve gracefully, completing a circle around a flattened ridge peak. The highest point is now a bell tower, standing tall, looming over a collection of other buildings formed of stone and wood. Snow settles slowly, or in this case rain, and steadily across the monastery, sheltered from the worst of Mount Archelon's weather by its careful position. And that's something you would have noticed as you emerged from the tunnel, is that the thunderstorm, the winds, and the rain, though some rain is still misting down, is largely blocked from you due to the position of this valley on the mountain. Do you all approach closer? Do you share words? What would you like to do?
I think Bungo would approach closer. I think he's very determined to get inside. This is what they came here for.
Absolutely. You follow Kira down towards Rhinebreath.
Was a little portrait on the way.
Of course. Whip out the notebook, get sketching. As you approach closer, you realise that the outer wall is not as uniform as it previously seemed from afar. The southernmost section, which is the section facing towards you, looks to be older, made of cruder stone, and occasionally patches of disrepair or simple freeze-thaw erosion has left tiny gaps and flaws across the stonework. Grey, in particular, you would think to yourself that the smoother sections of wall off to the left and right would be very difficult to climb, but this old kind of stone, you just see like hand grips, foot grips, as that you would make short work of on this side. The wall also, upon closer inspection, doesn't describe a full circle. This southern section breaks the symmetry with a flattened protrusion, like it's sticking forward almost like a ridge. And it matches the shape of the peak itself. And a familiar sight greets you as you get closer still, right to the base of the wall, as well-quarried, smooth stone steps stick out from the side of the wall and invite you, the traveller, as a final challenge of endurance, to take this last stretch of stairs up to your long-awaited goal.
Let's fucking do it.
Fucking do it. Let me move you over then.
Holy fuck, this is a big map.
Oh, there we are.
Your tokens are already on the map. If you want to divert yourselves right down into the bottom left.
Jeebus.
And you're welcome to start climbing the stairs.
Fucking hell. Let's get moving.
Climbing the stair, you note the first circular tower built into the walls themselves. Arrow slits patiently wait above, a grim reminder of your exposed ascent. This initial tower begins the clear switch to newer stonework. Smoothed, carved rock, a dark grey, has been quarried into equal blocks and positioned expertly to deny any invaders handholds or weaknesses to exploit. This continues as you round the western side of the wall and come to the very end. Mr. Goodbarrel's going to get there first.
Sorry.
The very end. That's all right. Of the Platinum Stair. I like to imagine him huffing and puffing as he's throwing himself up the stairs.
Oh, Nelly.
Like that pub
He
I
would-
went to last night.
Do not think he would be the first up. I think Grey would quite handily beat him. And Blam.
Blam would be doing it 2 or 3 at a time.
Ethelbert's legs are too short to do it properly, so he's just sort of like flomping himself up the stairs, but making it.
Did you make this,
gather-
Tom?
Gathering the dwarves. I did indeed.
Yeah, looks cool.
So, as you reach the final carved stone step, no names to be seen upon it or any of these stairs carved in. There's no pomp or ceremony. Your feet are now just on firm dirt and stone. Immediately to your right, though Bungo and Grey have gone shooting off, immediately to Atala's right, you see, dominating the wall and the thin stone ledge before it that you stand upon, is an open archway. Constructed of the same stone as the walls, but depicting simple designs of dragons in flight, the great wooden doors hang open, inwards to a courtyard. The only other direction afforded to you, beyond heading back down the stairs of course, is forward, where you can see a sizable ledge delineates from the curvature of the wall. The ledge itself is bordered by a simple stone wall that you can see here, about waist height, affording a reassurance not seen before on your entire journey. A number of pragmatic wooden buildings sit atop the ledge, but their purpose would require closer inspection.
What did you say sits atop them?
Pragmatic wooden buildings sit over
okay.
here on this
Sorry,
ledge
yeah.
with a small wall, that's alright. But if you want to figure out what they're there for, what they are, will require closer inspection.
Yeah.
No, I'd probably just ask Kira.
Yeah.
Uh,
What's over there?
Oh, yeah, I should drag Kira out again.
That's what I was going to do as well.
High five.
Where you going, Kira? Where you going? There you
Grey and Bungo say it in perfect synchronization.
are. Yeah, Kira would say to you, this is usually where the furthest outsiders will go for the monastery. The larger building that you can see towards the end is Tamara's Mercy. It is a place where outsiders are allowed to stay whilst they visit the city, or if they're denied entry, they are still welcome to stay, but must, of course, head back down afterwards. The smaller buildings are for keeping livestock and other food source, or people who need to store mounts, though there are few hardy enough to reach us here. Those are the purposes of the buildings. Sandral was sleeping in there. I think probably by now she may have awoken and headed into the city. Would you like to rest from your journey, or?
No, let's get reunited with Sandra as soon as possible. I think she might be surprised to see some of us.
All right. Follow me. I will, and she kind of calls this out across everyone. I will emphasize this again now. This is a strict place. Show respect. The sign of the mountain, as she puts her hands together again, will guide you well. Address people foremost as Archelon. If you do not know their name, don't ask for it. Just simply address them as Archelon. And she looks at Ethelbert. Just think before you speak.
I don't think I can do that.
Sorry, what the fuck that went there?
I don't think I can do that.
This is where Gift of Gab would come in really useful.
Yep, it would. Well, Ethelbert, perhaps you stick closest to me, if that's Okay.
I can't address them as Arkalon.
Well, that is the convention of my people. Just as other cultures might say, Sir, Madam, Lady, Lord.
Don't be a
But what
Tory,
if I get
Ethelbert.
confused between them and the mountain?
I see.
What if I think they're the mountain?
I would have to question your sanity.
This voice is really bad to do after you've had COVID. Just saying.
I know
Well,
that feeling.
People have been doing that for a very long time, so I completely care.
Perhaps it would be best if you didn't address them at all. I'll take that as a good enough for now.
I'll try, but I promise nothing.
All right. If you wouldn't mind keeping yourselves in order, two abreast behind me. You can choose the order yourself, but don't look like a rabble of excited tourists. I will be
Tourists.
taking you in under my own word and bond. Please respect that. So, she leads you into this snow and gravel-covered courtyard. Around you, you see a number of statues. Kira would say, as you walk through, that this area is called the Jaws of Judgment. You would have noticed, the observant among you, that carved into the gateway, the archway itself, is long fangs that look like a dragon's fangs that you step through to enter this area. Each of the statues...
Jaws of Judgment, Tom.
Jaws of Judgment. Each of... In fact, to save poor Natalie making a million notes, now that... actually, I'll do it later on.
You really don't worry, honestly. It's just something I do while I'm sitting here anyway, so...
Fair enough. So each of these statues looks like a great warrior, notably Dragonborn, none of them helmeted. You see the recognizable features of a Dragonborn. Some carry spears, halberds, swords, warhammers, all wearing armor, all bearing the symbol of Clan Arkalon upon their chest, but also many of them carrying symbols of Bahamut, the profile of the Platinum Dragon, but also other symbols. One of a sword with a sun built into the pommel and striking a sun at the tip of its blade, and another that looks like a shooting star on a plain field behind it. Anybody is welcome to do history or religion checks.
Yeah.
See if they can figure out what they
Say,
are.
do these statues have anything like plaques or anything?
Finally, I'll
They do not have.
Information.
They do not have plaques. They do not even have plinths that they're standing on. They stand on their own two stone legs, or in the case of these here, they do seem to be riding horses.
23 religion.
25.
23 and 25. Whoops.
Will a 6 cut it, Tom?
Sick.
They're made of
Ethelbert,
stone.
You think
Looks
that
like a statue to me.
the shooting star one's pretty cool. You like stars.
I saw a star once.
Both Bungo and Atala. Bungo, I think, an interesting experience, and you kind of have a moment of like clicking and thinking, of course, because both these symbols belong to companions of Bahamut, lesser known, but really important to Bahamut himself. The sword is the symbol of Lendis, another draconic god, the god of justice. Much harsher than Bahamut, a god known to see everything in black and white, and to very much a god of what goes around comes around, or fuck around and find out. Those who do good will have good come to them, and those who do evil will have evil come back to them. So that clicks for you. the shooting star, I'll say Atala. You recognise this one. And for you, I'll say the 25. It's quite a beautiful moment. These are deities that you always thought were quite interesting, but especially this one I'm about to tell you, but that just don't see the same worship. You know, you can go into most cities on the Sword Coast and proclaim Bahamut be with you, and people be like, "Oh, thanks very much, Bahamut's great." But these gods, people be like, "What? What are you talking about?" The shooting star is the symbol of Tamara. Tamara is another companion of Bahamut's and the mate of Lendis. Lendis and Tamara are a couple and both friends of Bahamut. Tamara is another draconic god, known as the kindest and most benevolent of the draconic deities. Some would mistake that for weakness, but those who did so didn't survive to make that error again. She always strived to temper the justice of her mate Lendis, and she preached mercy and forgiveness. And you know this now to be the namesake of the building that Kira pointed out before, Tamara's Mercy.
Okay.
Nobody going to take that fucking name seriously now.
Tamara?
No, Kieran. Look what Kieran put in there.
I can't take it seriously because that's my cousin, so I just think about her.
Lendis bread. Amazing.
Lendis bread.
Um,
There'll be some Lendis bread in here, Tom.
there probably would, to be honest. So, you're all heading in. You see Kira steps forward, seems to ceremoniously unsling her bow, a great bow from her back, hold it up in the middle, evenly above her head, and say, Wing Captain Archelon Kira, requesting entrance back into the monastery. I have with me a group of outsiders. They are under my protection and responsibility. And you see a little, from far up on this stone gatehouse in front of you, you see a head pop out from one of the stone openings. Looks like an older dragonborn. It sort of leans down and peers at you all with a crotchety old eye. And says, that's a lot of outsiders you've got there, Kira. She looks up and says, I'm fully aware of those who I travel with. Please, grant us entrance. We don't have time to wait around. I know you've got not much to do, Crincent, but we do. Yeah? He sort of goes, all right, leans back in, and you hear the sound of the portcullis in front of you opening slowly. And she beckons you all inside, gives you a bit of a stern look as you're coming in, as you enter into Rhinebreath proper.
Oh, it's a bit small. Oh, there we go. Bless you.
Thank you.
So, here I would like to jump over to the boy who's been sitting quietly for 3 hours, 2.5 hours.
So sorry.
Beloved Kieran.
Who?
The guy we just kicked out of the campaign, yeah? That guy. That chump. So you have had your experiences, Sandral. The last we left off, you were in the monastery itself. That would probably be about 20 minutes, 15 minutes before these guys show up. It might be that you spend more time in the monastery proper. But I just wanted to give you the chance. Do you think Sandra would have been wanting to head back, head elsewhere? Is there anything that she would have done?
I think this monastery is pretty large, right?
Yes.
And she just had that weird experience outside. So
She
I think
did,
she would
yeah.
be... she's on, like, hallowed ground at the moment, so I don't really think she would move.
Okay.
She'd be taking it all in, looking at
Yeah.
the statues.
Yeah, and it is
Right,
beautiful.
thanks.
And Archelon Keelik next to you would be quietly sort of mentioning different things about the statues and the history of different parts. Probably guide you over to the wall where they have the carving of the names of old white dragons who have died in the area. But we can come back to that. So that's all good. You are doing
if
your
there was
thing.
any like visages or anything like that of Tamara, I think she'd be more interested in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
When she got to the white dragon, she'd be like,
Yeah. Keelik would be all excited, just like, oh, no, it's amazing. And you're just there like, no.
Boring.
Exactly.
But for the rest of you, we shouldn't be far away now. Hera would be professionally and quickly sort of signaling off to you the buildings around you. She would say that this building here doesn't need to concern you. This is called the first wall, and it's just where guards check in, and she says that she'll need to check in there in a second. This building here would have been one of the only ways that you would have been allowed to enter if you hadn't been with her. This kind of large patchwork building, it looks halfway between a military building and a tavern. She would say is the closest thing you'll get to an inn here. It's called the Rite of the Challenger. And this is where people stay if they come to the monastery and declare a challenge. Outsiders who declare a challenge are allowed entry into the monastery, but only allowed to stay in this building until their time of their challenge, where they will fight a champion of the clan in this pit here. And she'd point towards you, this huge pit, almost like a stadium in itself.
And why would anyone want to do that?
She'd turn to you and say, many know the martial traditions of my people and seek to test themselves against a difficult foe. If they are successful in their challenge, they may be given further rights within the monastery. But mostly, it's just people who like a challenge. We currently have only the 2 challengers staying at the Rite, but I know you're keen to meet Sandral, and perhaps that is a conversation for another time.
Is this whole place, is it empty? Is there a lot of hustle and bustle?
There would be some people moving around, definitely not hustle and bustle. It does not have the feel of a city in itself, especially in the area you're in now. You would see some Dragonborn moving around, particularly spying through the gap in the wall over here. You would see and hear the sounds of metal clashing on metal and exertion, the sound of soldiers. You would see on this side, probably just catch someone moving through these gates opening, and a white Dragonborn in well-kept white robes hurries through this gate on this side over towards an area up the north that you haven't yet seen.
Ooh.
She would say, she would probably turn to you, Bungo, and just say, if you wait here, I can go and find Sandral.
Of course.
Please, she looks at you, Ethelbert, again. Please don't wander. She heads off. Gap in the wall from this side.
Egre's not straying anyway.
Yeah, you see the occasional Dragonborn that you do see move past does look at all of you with a very sort of openly staring visage before hurrying off. No one addresses you or accosts you. You're simply left standing there on the cold stone, surrounded by these buildings.
Gray would probably approach Varda and simply say, so you're here now. What do you plan on doing?
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. I thought it would be a little more interesting.
Profitable.
Perhaps profitable, yes. I don't particularly fancy making a challenge, nor checking in as a guard, so perhaps I'll see if anything's going on in the pit, or, well, I'm here now.
You mean you made this huge expedition, barely cling onto your life, and you're not even certain of what you're going to do here?
Kind of grits his teeth. He's like, you know exactly why I'm here, Mr. Grey. And you remember him telling you that it's for a bet.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
With Dagon Forgefire, the son
Oh,
of
God.
Forgefire that you guys met.
I do remember now.
So perhaps I can fetch a souvenir or something to prove my success. And, well, between you and me, it's be nice just to get back to some proper civilization, not this weird place.
Tom, can I posit something?
Absolutely.
If Varda finds those toys, he should definitely get that toy.
That's a lovely idea. He may well do.
I feel like he would.
Yeah, oh yeah, without a doubt. And he's got money to throw around. But we'll cut over to Sandral as the peace in the monastery is disturbed by the sound of metal on stone, metal on marble, as you turn around to see Archelon Kira striding towards you swiftly. You do notice she's attended by a figure in white robes that is struggling to keep up with her. And is kind of half skipping, half walking along behind her. But she approaches you and calls out, Miss Quinzel.
Archelon Kira, you're back. Did you find anything?
I found a lot. I'm not one for dramatics, so I will simply tell you now, your companions are alive. To the man.
But Bungo was dead. He's the only one who had the power to bring them back.
I don't doubt your words at all, Miss Quinzel, but they are alive. They've made the journey with me here. Safe, sound. The dwarven companions as well.
She narrows her eyes. She like, you sure it's them?
She gives you a piercing look. I'm sure, Miss Quinzel, I don't miss my mark.
She thinks back to her experience in the pool outside.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my master said we've got 3 worse things, but I don't understand. I could understand if some of them were here. How was it all of them?
Perhaps that is a conversation you need to have with them. Come, they await you.
Yeah, she'd follow. She's like, Archelon Killick, you coming as well? Or
She looks unsure and looks towards Kira. It's like, Kira says, did I tell you your duty was over? Killick's like, oh, no, and just continues straight on. And so, within a few minutes, for the rest of you, it's been about 10 minutes wait. Sandra, it's about a 5-minute walk back. You're allowed through the gates. And you would actually emerge, I think, with Kira's authority in the monastery. You'd emerge from the gate on this side.
I think in the meantime, Ethelbert would just be questioning who the hell Sandral actually is, because he doesn't know.
You've been venturing with Sandral. You crazy? The look on your face then.
Yeah, they would have probably been informed and filled in the history.
Yeah. So, you see, coming round the corner from behind the right of the Challenger, Archelon Kira, another Dragonborn. This one in plate armor. Looks quite young and seems to be looking to Sandral with a bit of warmth in her eyes. But most importantly, your young companion, Sandral Quinzel.
Gray jogs on over,
It's
yelling,
me,
probably a bit
Ghost
too loud.
Bongo.
Like Sandy.
Looks up at Grey. She's like, last time I saw you, you were dead.
Yeah. We've probably got some explaining to do.
When she looks round at Bungo, and you're also dead, Bungo. How are you here?
Well,
And she takes a step back.
I'll just say that never underestimate the power of Blam Wolfhorn.
Tyler gives her a nervous wave from behind as well.
Sandra will give it Tyler sort of like a look, not approving particularly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say underestimate his power, for better or worse. He did cause that avalanche, remember?
True.
I'm glad to see you're safe, Sandy.
I'm glad to
That's
see
a
you're
lie.
alive. I didn't. She sort of looks around. Didn't make any pacts, did you?
No.
For your lives?
No. I'm the only pact I have is with Lyra.
Sandra wants to do insight check.
Yeah, go ahead. Bungo, you can roll deception if you like, or you can just leave it.
I leave it as my passive deception, which I think is 12.
Even though that was a thing.
Yeah, you just add 10 to any score, and it becomes that's what your passive thing is.
Right.
Yeah, Sandra, you think he's telling the truth? It's old Bungo. The same old Bungo.
How did Blam save you? I know Blam could have fought them off, but he couldn't bring you back to life.
Well, I do not know if Elodius ever spoke openly about a woman named PJ Scriggins to you at all.
Just kind of looks at you blankly.
Well, let's just say we have a friend in strange places who, well, gifted Blam the power of a wish, and I'm very grateful to my friend that he chose to spend that wish bringing me back so I could bring Grey back.
Sandra sort of nods, and she's like, I'm still not sorry that I ran off. Someone had to go after Jorek. I thought you were all goners.
You do not need to apologise, dear.
And I'm not.
You're young. You were scared. We understand.
And you were dead, Grey, and so were you, Bungo. Don't try and blame me for running off. What was I meant to do? If I'd left...
None of us are trying to blame you.
No, there's no blame here. I would have done the same in your position with your experience.
Elodius did mention when your first... the first time he met you, Grey, he hid under the cart.
Hiding is a legitimate strategy, girl.
Well, I'm glad you're all alive.
So we are glad you're alive.
And she's like... She kind of looks at Grey and Bungo. It's like... When we're secluded, just us three, I need to ask pious people like you, what... I don't want to talk about it now, but there's a reason I didn't answer your message, Bungo. I know it's you now, but I think there's entities toying with me.
I think there's a lot of that going on. We have had discussions with Atala and everything that happened. With everything that's happened with Jorek, I'm more I piece things together. The scrying not working, there's everything that's happened is all linked by faith and by deities and gods, something is amiss. Does not surprise me that you say this.
She looks around at Arkelon Kira and Arkelon
Kilik.
She's like, glad you're alive, and I'm sure in no small part the Platinum Dragon played his role in guiding you all here, and me as well. And you can see that she's wearing the robes that she got off that dead body of the Bloodless
Jesus.
with the Platinum Dragon sign on.
She also has a stone symbol of the Platinum Dragon on a necklace around her neck.
She's like, after I'd been here, I was planning on going to Eastfang to find Jorek myself, but it feels like that'll be a bit easier now if you...
Kira would cough loudly as you say Jorek.
Arkelon Jorek!
She'd nod and look around to see if anyone else is here, but no one's there, so you're alright.
Well, Arkelon Jorek, his connection to the Platinum Dragon has been something that I think me and Grey and Blam especially can appreciate. That the Platinum Dragon always...
there.
You think he's at Eastfang?
I am sure he's at Eastfang. I know.
How do you know?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Just, let's get this out of the way and promise us you won't run off again, not unless it's absolutely necessary.
If you die again...
Hey, we've been through worse. Death is just part of our adventure.
I think, I hope this experience, Sandra, will, never quite did for Elodius, but I hope it does for you, that it shows you what, faith, the power of faith and what it can do.
And looks around at Arkelon Kira and, the fact they managed to sustain a whole settlement up here, that's more than I would have believed before. The sheer immensity of this place is unbelievable, and I mean that in the best kind of way.
Bungo smiles at that. Well, you'll have to forgive us. I think we are quite out of our element here, and you seem to know this place better than us already. So perhaps, along with Arkelon Kira, of course, you could give us the grand tour.
Yes.
Hero would step forward as you say that, and just say, Sandral has been allowed access. Well, I assume Arkelon Kilik. And Kilik, you see this smaller dragonborn next to her, nods. Has been allowed access by the only other way that outsiders get into Rhinebreath Monastery, and that is as a pilgrim. Those who have faith in the Platinum Dragon, Lendis or Tamara, can petition to be allowed inside. The building to do so is called the Pilgrim's Rest. It's just around the corner behind this guard tower. She looks out across the motley crew that's assembled here. I think some of you will be able to appeal on the grounds of religious interest. And nods towards you, Bungo.
What of our missive from Arkelon Kadra?
Ah.
Sandra gives him a look.
That's on me. I should have said something on the way up. Yes. Let's just get this out of the way now. Kilik, would you mind... Arkelon Kilik, okay, Kira would have said without making the mistake that Tom just did. Arkelon Kilik, would you mind escorting our dwarven and younger halfling companion in the loose clothes, just to take a look at the realm of respect, give them the talk, the one you're so proud of, And Archelon Keelik nods enthusiastically and is like, "Come on, you guys, this is gonna be great." And starts shuffling your erstwhile companions off to the side. And Kira beckons to the rest of you. Yeah, over in this direction where Gray's going.
Disappeared.
Oh god, my mouse just went crazy.
The magic trick is in here.
It's not in there. Don't want to
Nope.
go in there.
Nope.
You get your ass beaten up.
Where are we going? Where did they go? In here? Is
Can you
that a
see
thing?
Kira? Kira's there.
Oh, yeah, she is.
For some reason, her tokens really like see. Not sure why.
It's something to do with the GM because it's not see-through for us. I've
Yeah,
had that
no.
happen before though, Tom.
Okay.
I don't know why it is.
I think I figured it out. I think it's because they don't count as having vision on the dynamic lighting.
Yeah, that'd be why then.
So yeah. So I'll just turn it off. 'Cause
Good
that's
you.
gonna- otherwise.
You figured that out way quicker than I did because I did not
Well,
figure that out
I
until you
turned
just
it on
said.
and nothing happened. So don't congratulate me just yet.
Hmm.
Anyway, so Kira ushers you round. She looks around carefully with a keen eye to check for any listeners and gathers you all in quite close, like a sports team huddle.
What?
Kinda close.
Sorry, Tom. Before you go on, what was the name of this building here?
This one up here is called the Pilgrim's Rest.
Thank you.
It's all right. Reveal. Key number. This is why I was saying don't worry too much about your notes, but I know you're happy with your notes.
Yes,
But
I'm literally drawing the map.
oh, awesome! I will be making. There's a key that I've written it all out, and I'll be revealing it as we go through everything.
That's cool.
Okay,
In fact, you have it in your journals already. I'll put it on show to players.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
It's got the symbol of
sweet.
Archelon at the top. Their motto. So she gathers you up and draws you in close, and says in hushed tones, there is difficulty in the city. There are many difficulties in the city at the moment, but the issues around High Marshal Archelon Kadra is perhaps one of the worst. To keep it short, we do not want this overheard. She has been arrested and imprisoned beneath the bell tower of the monastery, in a powerfully secured prison called the Eye of Lendis.
May I ask why?
Of course, she, as I'm sure from your letters, you can tell she was very upset by the issues going on with Archelon Jorek. She was the first and the most fervent to try and break through to him, but she never seemed satisfied with his answers. And the High Marshal is a person of ultimate self-discipline and pushing for aspiring to perfection, and she always saw incredible talent in her brother, which we all did. But as you know from your own experiences, those who do, Archelon Jorek was a wonderful individual, but not always perfectly in keeping with the rigidity of the military here. To see him fall even further from that and retreat from the daily rituals and life of the monastery was heartbreaking for the High Marshal, and she struggled to see him fade from that. Upon his disappearance, I believe something kind of snapped within her, and she immediately put about trying to assemble a search party and gather as much of the Warsworn, the more military-minded side of my clan that I'm a part of, to go and look for him. This was tolerated at first in smaller parties, but as she was unable to find him and grew more and more desperate, which I assume is when she wrote you your missives, she was trying to take many units of soldiers out with her, and it began to cause a bit of a rift in the Warsworn, and was openly condemned by the Worshipsworn. My contemporary, Wing Captain Tarak, there are 2 of us of my rank who served directly beneath the High Marshal, took it upon himself to lead the opposition to the High Marshal's desperate search and actions. He petitioned the highest among the Worshipsworn, the Vox Platinate, to have her arrested, and he was successful, I am sorry to say. She has been branded a traitor to the clan. Not a heretic, that would mean she would not be imprisoned, but taken to the proven ledge to be, well, be judged. But for now she is imprisoned, the Eye of Lendis.
Did she put together these search parties by abusing her power, or did the Warsworn themselves want to look for Arkelon Jorek?
She nods along. Many of us did wish to find Arkelon Jorek. He, even with how he acted on his return, he was still very popular amongst our side of things, though you must understand with his looser approach to our ways, he had always had a contingent of us who were disapproving of him. But no, she had willing volunteers. The resentment started when she began to order those who weren't so willing. I believe at one point she even ordered Arkelon Tarak himself.
So, and it came to an abuse of power eventually.
Arguably so, yes.
Were the volunteers of the Warsworn, were they arrested as well?
No, to the High Marshal's credit, though she would not see it as credit worthy, she took the blame entirely upon herself.
Admirable.
I agree. This is another thing to understand here. Once something has been proclaimed by effectively the heads of both the Warsworn and Worshipsworn, it is effectively and, well, completely law here, and will be the prevailing and passionate opinion of the vast majority of my people. She kind of has a sad look in her eyes. We aren't prone to individualism here.
And how long is Arkelon Caedra's sentence for?
She kind of shakes her head as she looks at you. There is no end to it.
And could one, theoretically, what would it take to change that said sentence? Has it ever been changed?
There have been few times, once involved a changing of the Vox Platinate themselves, and the new pair that came in were of a different opinion to the previous. The only other time I can think of, it required a movement within the city that bordered on civil war. A differing of opinions when it came to the worship of the three, Tamara, Lendis, and Bahamut. We had what you might think of as a rogue thinker here, at least by my people's standards, who thought that Tamara should be the ascendant dragon that we worship above others, and that mercy was a more admirable quality, should be prioritized.
Sandra like nodding. Yeah.
What
That
is
individual was branded as a heretic, but the decision was overturned before they were taken to the ledge.
who is the current Vox Platinate?
The Vox Platinate is made up of two individuals, the Vox Platinus and the Voxite Platina. The Vox Platinus is Archelon Harker. He is a powerful speaker and passionate orator and worshipper of Bahamut above all else. The Voxite is Archelon Jinok. She is a bit of a rarity amongst my people. Someone I admire greatly. She is, I suppose you would call them an academic. She greatly favors learning, research, and understanding. She does not favor any of the deities above the others, and has risen to her position after a lifetime of hard work. She is not a powerful public speaker as Harker is. He is still in the later part of his youth, but still in his youth, and a fiery personality. She is a cool temper and a calm, wise mind. But those are the two.
Thank you.
All of this is to say, you would do well not to mention the High Marshal's name here openly, unless it is in condemnation. Sandral already expressed the urge to have some contact with the High Marshal. I know your missive asked you to speak with her. I do not know your talents, though looking around between you, I can guess some of them. She kind of cocks an eye at Grey.
I'm a barbarian.
Sandral's like, oh, they're very good at bringing himself back from death. Like, glares around.
Which is...
Not that I resent that, I just...
Which is not to be underestimated, I suppose. And perhaps you can move the very mountain itself. But, the prison is very...
You'd hear Ethelbert, no!
She would hold up her hand in apology. The prison itself is incredibly difficult to get to. I will say this. The High Marshal is alive and will remain so for a very long time. The nature of the prison is that it freezes the prisoner, keeping their body frozen completely beyond just their eyes and their mind. She is in there. She can think and feel. If you have any way to communicate with someone without speech, it might be that you could speak with her. If you are thinking of breaking her out, I would wish you all the best, and I will offer you what assistance I can, but I do not like your chances.
Would it be possible to petition the Vox Platinate for an audience with the High Marshal? Or is that a hopeless endeavour?
It is not hopeless. I say this to you, Bunga Goodbarrel. There is a respect for faith here, not just for the Platinum Dragon and his companions. Someone who is well known, which you are, to be a strong believer, might speak well with those of the Worship Sworn. There is something of a tension between my people and theirs right now, sadly. So I would not do you any favors championing you in this endeavor. The only other clear route to an audience with the Vox Platinate would be to undergo the rite of the Challenger. If you are able to best a champion, well, probably, to be honest, a few champions of the Warsworn, it is seen as a great honor, and you might request your reward be that, as you say, an audience.
The
Can I
challenge.
say something?
Go ahead, Sandra.
I feel like we're here to save Arkelon Jorek, and if we know he's in East Fang, at least I know he's in East Fang. Arkelon Cage's redemption is from the information we bring back with Arkelon Jorek. Why wait around? We've been travelling for weeks up that mountain.
You make
We
a
should
fair
leave
point.
as soon as possible. I was planning on leaving tomorrow on my own, and there's more of us now.
This is a fair point, but the only part that makes me doubt is we must know why you know he's at East Fang.
I'll tell you and Grey Bungo, but
I understand.
Please. And Kira gestures to a quiet corner for you to go speak. Three of you head over and sit down on these stone benches. Is Atala coming along?
Oh. No. Sneaking over there.
You can try, but it's an open stone floor.
No.
So you sit down.
after you two died, I tried jumping. I tried to kill one of them with Ladies' ring, the ring of the stallion, by blowing them off the mountain.
I remember Blam's wish granted me some clairvoyance of the situation.
And in that moment, I was worried and panicked, and I missed. And a voice spoke to me, saying, well, it's more of a presence, really, of burning presence. And I felt as if I accepted it into my heart, then maybe it would have gone off. But I connected that with my parents and what killed them in Neverwinter, the fire. I didn't want to be connected to that evil, even if it meant saving all of you, or some of you.
I understand.
And, well, since I've been here, I've felt the light of the Platinum Dragon, but I've also felt this fiery darkness before. And it was of Arkelon Jorek screaming in East Fang as I sat by the, what was it, the Pool of Reflection?
Pool of Righteous Reflection.
The Pool of Righteous Reflection near the cathedral. Arkelon Kira said he went in the direction of East Fang, so I'm pretty sure he's deep within the bowels of those mining complexes. I don't know why. I don't know why he went there, but it seems like the only thing that makes logical sense.
East Fang. We've heard that name before, have we not?
Many a time. You're saying this pool showed you a vision of him?
Yeah, well, Arkelon Killick said people stare into the pool to get visions from the Platinum Dragon, and I wondered if maybe he guided me up here after all your deaths, but I had more than a vision. It was an experience, and I left burn marks of my hands on the edge of the pool.
That is more than enough for me.
Did it hurt you?
I didn't even notice until it happened, Grey. Me and Arkelon Killick tried to clean it off. I didn't want to desecrate their monument.
If we can get any kind of divine information, is there any chance we could access this pool?
Well, I entered by the Path of the Pilgrim, so I guess if you did the same thing, you could get to the same point. I don't know. Maybe ask Arkle and Kira about it.
Sounds useful. Is it far?
It's just to the south. That's where I was. That's where I was. She informed me you were here.
Okay, that might be worth trying, I think.
I agree.
But I agree with you, Sandy. We can't hang around for Kadra. Sounds like she's got herself in a situation, but I think it was worth getting as much information, because I'm sure when we find Jorek, he'll be worried about her. We'll
Sandra
want to know
looks
what's
at
going on.
Grey. She's like, Archelon, Jorek, Grey, remember?
We're on our own. No one can hear us.
I know, but you got to get into the habit. It's really difficult to fall out of it.
You're learning quickly.
I would like to say something. I agree very much. The urgent matter of is clearly urgent by your experience, Andrew, and I trust you. However, I think this East Fang, everything that's happened, something is... If my magic cannot penetrate whatever walls that Jorek lies within, then we need to learn as much about this place as possible before we attempt to even set foot in it. We could be... Jorek is powerful, and we could be stepping into something that we are all not quite prepared for.
I think if we could speak to Archelon Kadra, that would be good. But we shouldn't disrupt these people's culture.
No. I think we should... I agree, we should not disrupt their culture. We should go about it through their culture. If we can be granted an audience with the Vox Platinate, then I believe that I can...
Didn't you just speak to her through Lyra?
I could, but I think... That's true. I could, but perhaps she would not be willing to share unless she...
That would be a little more intrusive, would it not?
It would. I could speak to her now if we really wanted to. I could send her a message.
Maybe you should ask her what she wants, Bungo. Maybe she doesn't want her culture to be disrupted. And then that way we know.
Very well. And he's going to cast Sending to Kadra and
Mhm.
basically ask what Sandral just said. Essentially asking what... We are here at Rhine Breath Monastery. We are aware of your situation. What would you like us to do?
So we are here. So I assume you give like, this is Bunga Good Barrel.
Yes,
I'm
of
here
course.
with arrows. We are here. Yep. What would you like us to do?
Yeah?
She's got 25 words.
Get me the fuck out of here!
Kill everybody.
Wipe them out. All of them.
Do it.
The message comes back to you after a thoroughly
Dramatic
a
pause.
full pause, yeah. And the voice, despite, with your connection with Lyra and what you know, Bungo, you get the feeling that despite her body being completely frozen and paralyzed, her force of will and strength of mind comes back to you like a thunderbolt through your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it speaks as Kadra would in short, terse sentences. You took too long. There is...
Fucking hell.
You took too long. I fear you won't be enough. There is a sickness amongst my people I must go with you. Speak with Kira. I believe that's the full
Mhm.
25.
He would communicate what she said to both Grey and Sandrell.
Bullshit.
Did she sound? She sounded paralyzed. You said almost.
Yeah, it was just this feeling of she wouldn't allow the weakness of her body to stop her own sense of will and power.
I'm gonna cast Divine Intervention,
Okay.
and I'm gonna try to make it so whatever damage has been done to her body is restored to its best version of herself.
Roll those dice.
Nope.
Sadly, the connection with Lyra flickers. She cannot help you in this day. And as Bungo tries to form this connection with Lyra and closes his eyes, you noticed he's not the only one closing his eyes. A few of the other Dragonborn that are off away from your conversation, closer to the rest of your group, stop where they are, close their eyes, and they raise the symbol of the mountain, the joined fingertips and split palms, above their heads as you hear an almighty bellowing roar sound out across the whole valley. This draconic, tearing sound as if it's ripping apart the sky itself. And you feel a deep, dark shadow move its way across the city above you all. And that's where we'll end tonight's session.
Well, did I
Shut
fuck?
the
Did
fuck
I
up.
fuck up?
That's scary.
I think I might have fucked up.
You'll see next time on the Cold Mountain. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed.
Oh shit.
Well, go break out Kadra. Go get your